Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
As Shrek so aptly illustrated, layers indicate that there's more going on beneath the surface, which is a goal many of us have for our writing, and it's pretty common knowledge that dialogue can be layered with subtext, characterization layered with contrasting traits, or external conflict layered with internal struggles. But what else can layered writing look like on a scene, chapter, thematic level to enrich the experience for our audience? That's what this video seeks to answer. To illustrate my first point, I created a hypothetical story, a sci-fi drama focused on a romantic couple trying to reconnect through a getaway vacation, but the busyness and worries of life just keep interrupting. And built on this idea, I wrote an early dialogue scene where they discuss their upcoming cruise through the stars.
Robert half tumbled down the stairs, arms loaded with their suitcases. "We're leaving tomorrow," he crowed, depositing the baggage in a heap by the front door. "Yes, I'm all packed," Ellen replied from the sitting room. He hopped over the back of the sofa and settled next to her. 3 years of waiting, and now it's finally happening," he sing-songed. "You excited?" She hardly spared him a glance before returning her focus to the pamphlet in her hands. "Of course I'm excited." "Have you seen this yet?" he asked, pointing out an ad in the pamphlet. "I thought you might enjoy this couples spa thing." "Yeah, that would be nice." She looked up at him, her face twisted in skepticism. "But is that really something you'd want to do?" He smiled. "I'll want whatever you want me to want." She frowned. "That's not what I want." "All right," he shrugged. "Then I guess we'll do something else." He reached for the TV controls. She closed the pamphlet with a sigh and set it neatly on the side table. "I'm going to bed," she said, standing and heading for the stairs. "Okay, good night, dear." "Don't stay up," she called back to him. "We've got an early start." Yeah, I'll be along." He put his feet up and flicked on the news. He barely heard her reply over the anchor's report. "Okay, good night."
The scene works, but there's really only one thing happening in it. Certainly we can see elements of their characterization and some of the tension which is prompting their attempt to reconnect, but those are aspects that should have already been established. So all we're getting in this scene is their discussion about what to do on their cruise. Which, yes, is relevant to the main plot, but it's not an efficient or compelling use of space in the story. Now let's go through it again, but with several more layers added.
Robert half tumbled down the stairs, arms loaded with their suitcases. "We're leaving tomorrow," he crowed, depositing the baggage in a heap by the front door. As if summoned by the chaos, Jeevebot whizzed into the foyer and neatly stacked the bags. "Shall I bring these out to the vehicle, sir?" Robert shooed the mechanized butler away. "No, we're taking the shuttle." Spying Ellen in the sitting room, the bounce in his step returned. He leaned over the back of the sofa and wrapped his arms around her shoulders, resting his chin on her head. 3 years of waiting, and now it's finally happening," he sing-songed. She hummed softly in reply, her fingers lightly resting on his hands, but her eyes never left the holopad in her lap, which was slowly flipping through their family photos. Robert noticed the pamphlet for their cruise discarded on the cushions beside her. "Aren't you excited?" He tilted his head to see her face. She looked up with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Of course." It was clear to him what was bothering her. "The kids will be fine, Ellie." Her gaze escaped back to the holo photos. "Felicity wouldn't speak to me all day, and Frankie complained that Aunt Mavis's home smells like smoldering circuits." He pulled away. "Her auto-made system's not that old." Ellen held her tongue. There was no point arguing over the arrangement now. Robert scooped up the pamphlet and hopped over the sofa to settle down beside her. "Have you seen this yet?" He drew her attention to the ads. "I thought this nebula viewing excursion would be cool, and maybe you would enjoy this couple spa thing?" She stared blankly at the pamphlet for a moment before her practiced smile returned. "We can always decide when we get there." "All right," he shrugged. "There's a call for you, sir," Jeevebot said, pushing the handset toward Robert. "From Mr. Rodendra." Robert quickly stood and walked away with the handset. "Yes, sir. I sent the details to Timothy. The file should have everything regarding—" His voice faded as the office door slid shut behind him. Ellen checked the clock and clicked off the holopad with a sigh. It was later than she'd meant to stay up. She set the holopad to charge, straightened the throw pillows, and gave Jeevebot instructions for the morning. Robert came back as she was heading up the stairs. "Sorry about the interruption, Ellie," he said, peeking through the rails at her. She paused on the steps, but did not turn to face him. "It's fine, Rob. I know how he can be." "What were we saying before he called?" "Nothing important." She continued her ascent. "I'm going to bed." "Okay, good night, dear." He headed back to the sitting room. "I think I'll catch some evening news first." "We've got an early start tomorrow," she called after him. Yeah, I'll be along." Returning to the sofa, he pushed aside the throw pillows, put his feet up, and prompted the holoprojector to life. He barely heard her reply over the anchor's report. "Okay, good night."
See the difference? Same scene, but there's so much more going on. Now, in addition to their conversation about their cruise, we've woven in some of the sci-fi aspect of the story, included more subtext and introspection, as well as hinted at some of the subplots which will be interrupting their vacation. And despite my flawed prose, all those different layers have given the scene a lot more substance and depth. Adding layers can also improve pacing. As another example from my own writing, the opening scenes of one of my projects used to be outlined as follows. Chapter 1, first main character introduction. Chapter 2, second main character introduction. Characters' paths intertwine and separate. Chapter 3, development revealed for first character. Characters deal with general world-building conflict, characters' paths intertwine again, and they team up. Chapter 4, development revealed for second character through incidental external pressure which causes second character to bond to first. Chapter 5, characters deal with general world-building conflict, relationship building, second character's goal is vaguely mentioned in passing, incidental external pressure causes first character to bond to second. Chapter 6, antagonist is introduced and pursues them, relationship building between main characters, antagonist confronts the characters. As you may be able to guess, the overall pacing dragged even while individual aspects were rushed. Based partly on feedback I received, I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on the problem. No matter how much I improved dialogue, characterization, world building, it didn't feel right. Eventually, as I learned more about writing, I realized that each of these different aspects should not be parceled out into their own dedicated scenes, they should be layered together. So the revised outline now has Chapter 1. Both main characters and antagonist are introduced during a general world-building conflict which causes their paths to intertwine. Chapter 2. Main characters team up and development for both of them is revealed through relationship building as well as through interaction with a key world-building feature and a general world-building conflict which interrupts. Chapter 3, relational conflict over second character's clearly stated goal, prompted by the general world-building conflict, causes the characters to separate. But external pressure intentionally sparked by second character in pursuit of goal forces them back together. Antagonist reappears and begins pursuit. It still has room for improvement, I'm sure, but now the pacing and flow is much smoother. Pulling the first world-building conflict into the same scene that the characters meet enabled me to set the tone for the story and introduce the fantasy aspect of the setting much earlier than before. It also created opportunity for me to go deeper with their initial characterizations because I show them responding to more than just each other, and having their paths intertwined there is now a natural follow-through of the event that leads smoothly into the next chapter, which is not only better for pacing but also for keeping the audience engaged. Because having the scenes and chapters flow together helps keep the audience wondering, what's the result of this? What's going to happen next? Whereas having each scene and chapter neatly self-contained makes it easier for a reader to stop reading. If your writing is struggling the same way mine was, you will likely need to rearrange or remove content to layer better, and it may be hard to let go of what you currently have, especially when you've already put a lot of work into writing it that certain way. I know it was hard for me, but going through this process really pushes you to whittle out what is unnecessary, to find what is redundant, to do more with less, making the story tighter and richer. That's what the advice "kill your darlings" is all about, and the results are worth it. Lastly, layers can also help strengthen themes or create symbolism through juxtaposition. Although we assert that the Dragon Prince series has many flaws, it does have some good moments. One of which is the juxtaposition of a fight to the death between a human and a Zadian during a ceremony to celebrate rebuilding peace between humans and Zadians. As Ezran speaks on the cycle of violence and the need to be realistic about it while striving for a peaceful future, that very cycle is being played out during his attempts to curate peace.
I just want to yell stop. It won't work. I think about a positive vision. A faith we can all share. That we might build a future together in hope. But it's not that easy or simple.
And following Ezran's speech, Corvus plays music titled A Song of Love and Loss, as we see the outcome of the fight. Both Ibis and Terry are willing to kill to protect what they love, even if it means the loss of their own innocence, since they each claim to detest taking life.
I am not a killer, but if you seek to return that stuff to its true owner, you must die.
I had to. I couldn't let him hurt you.
Granted, as it's a kids show, this example is very on the nose, but it cannot be denied that layering these scenes together makes them far more impactful than if they had played out separately. For an example from more mature media, we can look to the first, the only season of Arcane. In episode 5, there's a scene which confused a lot of viewers, myself included. In a nutshell, while Victor tries to figure out Hextech and is overcome by his illness, Jace and Mel dance the horizontal hokey pokey. Many theories on the meaning behind this montage were offered. Some viewed it as a metaphor for Piltover and Zaun. Jace is caught up in living the high life, while Victor suffers an all-time low. Some thought that it was showing the contrast of Victor staying focused on their cause while Jace was getting distracted. Still others saw it as highlighting the similarities in both Victor and Jace pursuing their passions to the detriment of their friendship. Personally, I agree with Shnee's interpretation. The procreative act between Jace and Mel is symbolic of what is happening when the Hextech fuses with Victor's blood. A bond is being forged, something new is being created. To be clear though, I think the other interpretations are just as valid. By juxtaposing these events, the creators managed to not only convey the importance of what's happening with the Hextech, but also further develop the dynamic between Jace and Victor and Jace and Mel, one pair growing apart while the other grows closer together, both men becoming entangled with a complex and potentially dangerous power. The more you dig into the content, the more meaning you can find, because there are layers. So there you go, 3 ways you can enrich your writing with one technique. Adding layers can give depth, substance, improve pacing, strengthen themes, and/or create symbolism. If you have other examples of ways layering can make a difference, please let us know in the comments. If you liked this video, leave a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to catch our future content. If you'd like to support our work, you can give via super thanks or check out our Patreon, where we share exclusive content and early releases. Thank you as always to our current patrons. Don't forget to stay loud and proud, folks, and I'll see you around.
See you later.